right, everybody. Episode 110.
110.
110.
110.
Yeah, it's like binary code.
It's like summer in Phoenix.
Yeah, summer in Phoenix, that's more like...
120.
Yeah,
I feel like it's higher than that.
It's hotter than that. Weren't people's shoes like melting on the sidewalk?
Yeah.
I feel like people were literally burning their feet.
It's getting colder, though. The Earth's getting cold. We're getting colder.
My cousin lives out there, so I get to report on just how hot it is out there.
I've only been there once.
What time of year were you out there?
July.
Oh, really? Okay,
Yeah.
wow. Okay.
En route to Mexico.
Full bore. Yeah, it's
I wasn't there long.
No, but were you there at night? Because that's what shocks me the most is you're out there and you're like, oh, well, the sun just went down. It's going to start to cool off. And you're like, oh, no.
It may get hotter at night.
Oh, no.
Oddly enough.
Like the misters, those little mister things are still going at like 11:30 at night. And you're like, man, is it hot? I mean, it's just like, how is it that hot? I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah. Well, and we were only there for like a day. It was literally a stopover. So it was like we were there for half a day and then a night. So I didn't get to do much or see much.
Yeah. It's every time I'm out there, which is not often, but I'll always ask the Uber driver, hey, you're starting? Are you ending? You know, because they'll be like, oh, take me to the airport or whatever. Yeah. It's like, oh, no. I've been going since like 3:00 in the morning. Because that's when everybody gets up to go like exercise. Yeah. Like, oh, everybody goes out hiking and running or doing whatever at all these crazy odd hours.
You can't go during the day.
Yeah, it's super hot. So 110. I'm glad it's not 110 degrees right now.
Yeah, it feels good outside now.
All right. What's on topic for today?
Today,
Senora?
I thought, I know on episode 109 we talked about some social media stuff, and this sort of ties into that, and we'll get into that. But I thought today we might talk about.
Drum roll, please.
My drum roll. Influencer marketing.
Influencer marketing.
Marketing.
Interesting. Interesting topic.
I chose that because I'm kind of in the thick of it right now with a client that we're working on. It's a really interesting exercise and proving to be great. And I think it's a really good opportunity for a number of different companies of all shapes and sizes and products and services and offerings and things. Yeah. So a lot of learnings happening around here. And so let me start by asking you, when you I say influencer marketing, you say, yay. What do you think of?
What do I think of?
Yeah, what comes to mind?
Well, I think it's initially I probably think a little bit more along the celebrity lines, right? Which is what I know we've talked about in the past, like on pods, many moons ago. So you think about more celebrity endorsements, but I don't think that that's necessarily what we're talking about today or what we're talking about in regards to influencer, right? So I don't want to steal the thunder, but it's kind of micro-targeting to a certain extent.
Well, micro-influencer is absolutely a term, and that's kind of what we're going to talk about today. Yeah.
What was your initial impression?
Same for me. I mean, for a long time, and I think the majority of people out there, industry or not, probably thought or think of influencer marketing as, Kim Kardashian.
Yeah, I was just going to say
paid $250,000 to post a perfume on Instagram.
Yeah. And I don't know that if they kind of started it or whatever, but it feels like that sort of reality TV
kind of
celebrity stuff kind of started a little bit of the influencer marketing, which was a derivative you could argue of product placement in TV shows.
It's just celebrity endorsement, digital style, social media style.
Quick random side note, product placement. I know we're not talking about product placement, but I always think about the example of M&M's versus Reese's Pieces, right, in E.T.
In E.T.
Yeah, that's what kind of catapulted Reese's Pieces.
Put Reese's on the map, I think.
Exactly. Yeah. And now, do you remember why M&M's was not, why they passed on that, or why they...
I don't know. Okay. And it's probably like,
so-and-so just...
liked...
There's no great story there.
Yeah. I don't know.
I do remember the Castaway, the Tom Hanks scene. I know UPS passed on that one.
It was the FedEx.
Yeah, and it ended up being FedEx. And I can understand that because it's, the plane goes down. Yeah.
And arguably the Wilson volleyball. I mean, it was, I wonder if there was fighting between volleyball brands. I mean, it became a central character.
Yeah. Anyway, I totally derailed this entire conversation.
We'll do another. We should do another pod about.
Yeah, but
that.
You kind of, in my mind, I don't know if this is accurate, but in my mind, you go product placement, then you go to weird celebrity endorsement with television commercials, and things like that, right? And then it starts to drill down into this weird reality show. Kardashian is what spawned this whole thing.
Yeah.
Right? Oh my God. Okay. She paid $1 million to put a beer in her or whatever,
Yeah.
and like bad Photoshop and stuff in like Instagram posts back in the day. It was pretty funny. It wasn't even like, oh, we did a photo shoot of this product. It was just, we shoved it on.
We just, right. Right. That's right. That's
it was just funny.
So this project in particular and I won't give away client names or anything, but it's a client of ours that's in sort of the flooring industry, we'll call it.
Yeah.
And we've been working with them for a couple of years now and doing a lot of different things. We're doing some SEO work with them now. We've done some website work and some social media management, that kind of thing. And so we were sort of talking around and sort of pitched them the idea about looking into influencer marketing.
Yeah.
They have a product that is very unique, I would suggest.
I would agree with
but
that.
is probably easily copied.
Okay.
And
I hadn't considered that.
I think they've been on the market for a couple of years. I don't want to say under the radar, but we've started to see some imposters sort of pop up.
Okay.
And so we were talking about, well, how do we accelerate awareness and all of these things? So we've done a few different things with them, and they don't have big budgets because they're not a huge company. They're a growing company. They have a tangible product. They sell all of it online.
Yeah.
So it's all retail. They do a big business on Amazon.
Yeah.
But as we know, Amazon takes a hefty cut of your business. And so the idea was, let's try and move sales away from Amazon. Towards direct from their site.
Correct.
Right? To improve our margins and make some more money.
Yeah.
So we started kicking around the idea of influencer marketing. And again, they don't have big budgets. And so,
well, just as an additional tool to the ongoing SEO and the ongoing, like it's not the only thing happening, but another tool.
No, another tool in the toolbox. And as we sort of take over for them and expand their digital ecosystem, it's important that everything work together.
Correct.
Meaning the site and the SEO and all of the social media posts and management and the boosted posts and the paid social.
Yeah.
And then we layer on this component of influencer marketing.
Yeah. Left hand talking to right hand.
Yeah. So just to, going back and starting to come up with a plan for it, we found a tool that we really liked. I did, because the first question obviously is how
do you find these people?
How do we find these people?
Yeah. Yeah, and weird niche little business units. How do you find
them? So there are several platforms out there that are aggregators for influencers.
Which makes sense.
Which makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
And so we sort of found one that we liked. And you go by niche, you go by category. You can do DIY projects. You can do home improvement. You can do fashion. You can do all of these things. They aggregate everything for you across the different platforms, be it TikTok, be it Instagram, Facebook, whatever. And they're all micro influencers, meaning it kind of ranges from, you have 100,000 followers down to, you have 2,000 followers.
Okay. So my question for you was going to be, what defines micro?
I think micro influencers, technically speaking, are anything under 10,000 followers.
Okay. Got it.
Okay.
Got it.
So we're kind of dealing in, I would say a little bit above that, but we've got a few under that element as well. But we're not going after Eminem to post on his thing for $3 million.
Yeah, no,
right?
It's correct.
And so a lot of these influencers, these micro influencers and smaller influencers, it's you gift them, just to tell people how it works, you gift them your product.
Yeah.
And then I would say half and half rely on them to generate the content.
Yeah.
Versus you giving them the content. It just depends on their capabilities and their page and how it works and whatever else.
Well, and you got to do the research on each individual. Do you like the type of content that they're putting out?
Yeah.
Obviously it helps to familiarize them with the product by giving them some talking points about what it is. But again, you kind of got to let them do what they do best.
Let them do their thing.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Let people do their thing. So then it's, you take a look at the audiences and you try and figure out obviously which ones align with your brand and your style and aesthetic and tone and all of those things. But there's a couple of different things that you can try out of the gate. There's, we're going for a numbers play, right? We're going for awareness. So at the end of the day, we always want sales, but hey, we've got an influencer who's got, call it 1 million followers on something.
Okay.
We're going to have to pay them a little bit more. We're going to have to gift them something, but and their page is really good.
Yeah.
Is it 100% DIY home decor?
No,
probably not.
Yeah,
you're going to get broader, some. Right? Yeah, it's a little bit broader than that, but it's a numbers play, right?
Yeah.
You're paying for not a lot of not a lot of investment up front. You're going to get a huge reach, right? Which for brand awareness purposes is great.
Totally.
Every influencer then gets their own promo code, of course.
Yeah.
And then they also get a link, right, to provide so that we can, for tracking purposes, know exactly where everything is coming from.
Exactly.
Which is great because then when we start to run all of the metrics on the entire digital ecosystem, we know everything.
Yeah. Well, it's not only we know, as you mentioned earlier, Amazon versus direct. Now we've got social referrals, what channel, but then also what specific individual, right?
Right.
If there was an individual or, what was the point of entry, things like that.
Right.
So
down to the individual influencer, we can go, this person drove X amount of traffic to the site.
Yeah.
Which is really, that's kind of their only job.
Yeah.
Is to drive people to the site.
Absolutely.
Right. And then conversion rates from there and know literally exactly, okay, our X spend delivered X amount of dollars.
Yeah.
Which is amazing for clients and agencies alike to be able to have that information. And then it's just kind of a matter of figuring out as you go down the road with different influencers, trying to figure out, okay, are we better off with the, 26,000 followers that are exactly in alignment with, then you start to get into the percentages of conversion rates based on total audience, and you can really go down a metrics rabbit hole.
Oh, for sure.
Of nerdiness, which is great.
The problem with data is that there's almost too much data now.
There's a lot of data, and that's part of our job is going through and going, okay, here are 78 pages of data. How do we present the top line?
Yeah,
information?
It's not only like, hey, this code generated X sales. It's like, oh, at 11:53 p.m. in Racine, Wisconsin, someone did this, then they did that, and it's like, I mean, you can track the entire shopper journey. It's incredible, but it's almost overwhelming. It is overwhelming. I shouldn't say almost overwhelming. It is overwhelming.
And even further than that, even
I think I know what you're going to say.
Further than the past tense, we can look at the present tense, and we can look at, you and I were looking at this yesterday.
Yeah.
We're looking at, here are the people that are on the site right now.
Here's real-time
location data mapping. Where they are on the site. We can see, who's currently in the checkout line.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
I mean, it's pretty amazing. And it's a great tool. So anyway, it's all just about figuring out what types of, maybe you have a handful, depending on your budget, maybe you have a handful of sort of more micros that are more directly in alignment with what you're doing, right?
Yeah.
Meaning, I'm doing DIY flooring in my house.
Exactly.
Something as micro targeted as that. And then you kind of broaden it out too. So you have some layers, right? And then you brought it out to home projects.
Well, I think our recommend, and correct me if I'm wrong here, but I think our recommend, and I recommend for anybody listening to this, is don't put it all into one basket. I mean, we're talking about influencer marketing right now, but that, as we mentioned earlier, that's just one part of the full digital tool set, right?
Correct.
And then, so even within this one part, it's, okay, well, don't put all your eggs in the one,
don't blow your budget on one influencer and hope that it works.
Yeah, exactly. Spread that around, to see what happens. And then, hey, if you do have additional funds, if you do have additional budget and things like that, hey, maybe you go back to that. Well, you refine based on the data.
And then you figure out as you go down the road, hey, you know what? If we go for a broader reach and we're a little bit broader in our targeting, but we still yield the same results, if not better, then that kind of shapes what we do.
Yeah.
We always say to clients, advertising is not an exact science. Because if it were, we would be podcasting from the Caribbean somewhere on our own island.
Well, I always say that there'd be no such thing as a stock market.
Yeah.
I mean, which I know is not a true statement, but it's trying to drive the point home that you can say all the right things, do all the right things, have the greatest product in the world, lead everybody right to the checkout aisle, but it's not a guarantee.
Guaranteed returns are impossible. They do not exist.
Exactly.
But it's a really good way, again, and the other thing too is not only is it driving awareness and driving all of these things, it's great for SEO purposes, right?
For sure.
Too. So we think about SEO being, hey, the sort of outward expansion of our brand across search engines and the internet, but backlinks we always talk about. Other people talking about us, that's just as important, two-way traffic. So it's a great way to help build that too.
Yeah, and if those sites are valuable sites that are linking out, right, that's only going to give you more juice across, the entire spectrum, right? And your social referral traffic, that's important traffic.
So, it's very important traffic, and it helps validate you from a brand standpoint. It then helps, it affects search and how everybody finds you and all of these things.
Yeah, and Google is going to go, oh, okay, people came in, they interacted with your site, they put things in a cart, and they checked out. I mean, that's, a valuable user. Right?
And it's different for different, types of businesses, meaning influencer marketing is kind of a no-brainer if you're selling a widget.
Yeah.
A good quality widget, right? That you believe in and you believe is a good product.
Yeah.
That's a no-brainer for influencer marketing because that's going to lead to direct sales. I think it's a little bit more difficult or challenging, I would say, when you offer a service.
For sure.
Right? Depending on if you're a consultant, let's say.
For sure.
Then it's going to be a little bit more difficult to do.
Well, there's no immediate, it's not like buying airline tickets or having something you put in a cart, to your point, with a widget immediately, right?
Right.
When there's a longer selling cycle and there's more, consultative services.
Then it becomes a...
Yeah, it's a longer conversation. It's not just, there isn't a straight line, if that makes sense.
Right.
So,
that's right. It's a no-brainer for, direct to consumer.
Yeah.
Selling of products.
Doohickeys
and widgets and all those good things. But it's been a really cool lesson. It's a very effective tool. It's very successful so far.
Yeah, which has been awesome.
Which has been great. And I think it's
fun.
It's super fun.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things where I think clients need to think about it in terms, and I mean this for smaller or growing clients.
Yeah.
Influencer marketing isn't something that's out of reach of the budget. It's not, I've made it. I'm a $100 million company and I have the budget to do that. You can do it on a small budget, and it's a really effective way, I think, to drive.
Yeah, I think the budget mostly might be in just sort of the time associated with managing all of the moving pieces and parts versus the fees themselves.
That's true.
So
it's very true.
Yeah.
And again, I'd go back to that idea that if you are, you're thinking about SEO on one hand, you're thinking about social media on the other hand, you're thinking about your site, you're thinking about all of these other things. It's important to remember, you think about, boosting posts and paid social and search engine marketing and all this stuff.
Yeah.
It's important to think about it holistically.
For sure.
And make sure that all the pieces and parts are working together.
Yeah.
Right? It's the hub.
Yeah. I would say, just to complicate matters even more, and I'd love to get your take on this too, I would say that authenticity is something to add into the mix as well. I mean, we don't need to spend any time talking about it, but we're all aware of big brands. You're talking about $100 million companies that don't need to do it, that are doing it anyway and not doing it successful and having it come back around and bite them on the keister, right? Versus just making sure that you're partnering with someone that does have an authentic approach to it, and it doesn't feel like I don't know what I'm trying to say here. Like, it doesn't feel like it's forced upon everybody, if that makes sense. Yeah. Like, it's like, we paid to be in a Kardashian post. You know what I mean? Versus just having that groundswell authenticity of like, hey, here's a product that absolutely fits this micro target.
Yeah.
And it's an awareness play, as you mentioned.
If I'm selling press-on nails.
Yeah.
And I go pay Kim Kardashian $250,000 to do an Instagram post for the press-on nails. That doesn't feel very authentic.
Correct.
Pretty sure she's not pressing on her own nails.
Got it.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And so I agree. And that's why to your point, the management of it and the creation of the campaign and the research that you got to do to find the right people.
The right partners.
And make sure, too, that their content is authentic. And
it
feels right for your brand and is aligned to your brand. Is critical as well.
Yeah. Dun-dun-dun.
And scene. So when you're ready.
You stole my thunder. Yeah. So when people are ready, Rob, to sign up with influencer marketing, where should they find us? Dun-dun.
Well, you can go on our site and use promo code Rob Said So 2023. No. Of course, everybody can find us.
That's for our Patreon. We record extra podcasts, for paid, right?
That's right.
So where the good stuff is. So.
No, but everybody, of course, can find us on the interwebs at mocktheagency.com and on the socials at mocktheagency. And would love to hear from you. And and get your influencer campaign started today.
Or maybe you're an influencer.
Maybe you are an influencer.
I know.
And we would love to be influenced.
Yeah, sounds good. All right. Thanks, everybody.